Welcome back, everyone. This has been like a freaking incredible day. I was actually just on the phone with my sister a little bit ago before this, crying. I've cried several times today. The energy, even though this is a virtual event and I'd much rather be in person, it's incredible. I can feel the energy behind everyone watching, all the energy being poured into this, and it's really incredible. And I have the privilege to introduce my sister, who is just an incredible woman, an incredible human being. Emma is a poet, artist, and women's retreat facilitator. Emma believes in the power of the human heart as our greatest medicine. She is a poetess, artist, multidimensional creative, and wild woman guide. A human being who has committed her life to expanding beyond borders, rules, and the realm of possibility. She travels the world writing poetry and teaching embodiment, reminding women of their inner power. And with that, I'm going to let Emma take it away to share what she needs to share on creative alchemy.
Thanks, Baba. Hi, everyone. I cannot see any of you. This is strange, but I can feel the energy. My heart is like beating out of my chest and I'm sweaty. And if anyone knows me, you know, if my armpits are sweating, it's a really good sign because I am, just very in alignment. It's an honor to be here. I was so excited when my brother asked me to share. This is definitely the largest audience I've ever spoken my poetry in front of. And then I have a little teaching as well that I'm going to bring to this space. I'm going to start off by reading a spoken word. A lot of my poems don't have titles, so I kind of sit with them, I speak them out loud, and then the title usually comes to me at a later time. So we'll start with this, and then I'm going to take you all on a journey of my own story and what it means to me to be a creative alchemist, especially during this very wild, interesting time that we're living in. Okay. We are taught to fear our own flesh and blood as if blood is not on their hands. We are taught to put our heads into the sand as if we do not see with 3 eyes. And they lie, and they lie, and they lie. And we cry for this wretched machine to save us from our own being. Listen, you do not fear this plague outside of you. There is no monster. You fear the power of the warrior trembling within your own heart. And each of us wants to feel this new earth beating so desperately, but we don't know where to start. You see, some souls chose to incarnate in bodies for nosebleed seats. They look down at earth as a form of mind-numbing entertainment for power and greed, but us, we looked down at earth and saw fertile soil for planting seeds. We asked for front row seats because we knew that fear trembles in the quake of spiritually anointed kings and queens. Yet when we were born, the crowns fell off of our heads as generational trauma grabbed us by the neck. We came as royalty and were taught to forget. They say our medicine is the cure, sell your soul to get more, as if we did not come from a line of ancient keepers of curated wisdom and bodiless roars. The beast programs us in our minds, and yet the human heart's electromagnetic field is 60 times greater than our brains. Lead from in between your chest and realize there is no one to blame. You see, many of us cannot get out of bed with our petty, lifeless desires and soul-suffocating public personas. We live to scroll and see our worth through the eyes of payrolls and online polls and reputations that could never encompass the totality of our magnificence. You see, there is no they. There is only us, terrified to enter into the basement of our own souls, as above, so below, as within, so without. If you want to see a change, you must stop hiding out. The new earth is not a fantasy that will be here someday. We are creating it in each waking moment. She is making her way. Brothers and sisters, may you open your heart to the possibility of your divine capability to bring forth the healing that you so desperately want to see happen. No one is coming to save us. Get out of the limitations that you are trapped in. May you understand your own God-given anointment. Place your crown back on your head. This time we are living in is a divine appointment. You came here for the front row seat, and now there is absolutely no going back to sleep. Yay! I'm used to like a crowd or something.
I'll give you some. Yay! That was good.
I'll just clap for myself. I live in a 100-year-old house, so I'm sure all the ghosts and spirits that are in here with me are like really screaming loud. Yeah, so I wrote that just because, you know, as an artist, and I believe everyone is an artist, we have the ability to speak new worlds into existence, and to not only to speak them, but to dream them in our fantasies and our dreams. And so I wrote that poem just as an offering of a divine remembrance that we may all use this time wisely. And instead of getting distracted about what is going on out there and what the elite are doing and the liberals are doing this, and everybody's just like, there's so much happening, right? But this is a beautiful time for us to remember and reclaim who we are. And I personally do that through art, and I do that through self-expression and through writing, and that is my work on this planet. And so that's what I'm going to lead you through for the next we have about 13 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to start a little bit about my story and how I started to get into writing before I transition into, I have written down, art will save the world, your words create worlds. We're going to get into some really fun things that are just kind of my theories and things that I have found to be true in my own life. So I'm 25 years old. Alec is my brother, obviously, and writing was a means of survival for me. I absolutely needed an outlet to be able to express myself. There was a lot of abuse happening in our family growing up. There was a lot of psychological, just kind of mind fuckery, excuse my language if there's children on here, that I call it, where I felt very gaslit, very confused. I didn't know who I was. I was just in this like vortex of confusion and pain. And so writing was my outlet. I started writing poetry. I've had journals my whole life, but I started writing poetry at about age 17. And then recently in the past 3 years, started sharing on Instagram and have really gained a following on there, which I'm really grateful for, that people resonate with my words. And so I named this talk Creative Alchemy, right? And what does the word alchemy mean? That's like such a buzzword in spiritual spaces. It's like embodiment, alchemy, divine feminine, like everybody's talking about this stuff. And honestly, sometimes it kind of annoys me because it feels like so trendy and I'm not a person that likes to follow trends. But alchemy, there's so many definitions for it. But one that I found that I really loved, it means to change something from ordinary to extraordinary. And I always joke about my story because based on where I came from, I should be in a ditch, pregnant, shooting heroin up, to be honest. Like, I experienced so much trauma that a lot of people do not recover from. And I absolutely had privileges and things in my life that need to be acknowledged. I had an advantage that I was able to afford therapy. I was able to move back home if I needed to when I couldn't take care of myself, things like that. But I have embodied that in my own life. I came from a space of not knowing who I am, of drinking every weekend, of sleeping around and doing all of these things that were really sucking the life out of me because I was just trying to survive. And there are so many of us who are in spaces like that, right? Like, even if we haven't experienced the crazy traumas like some of us, the world is very chaotic and it feels like we're just kind of hanging on by a thread, right? And so my art was a beautiful mirror for me to be able to see who I truly was. And I want to share something. There's something in writing called an anagram, anagram. And it basically is when there's like a word within another word and you can kind of like take some letters out of a word and then make another word with it. And I was journaling one day and I found it interesting that the word world has the word word in it. So I don't know if you can, it's probably backwards and you can't even see it. I'm not even gonna try. But I wrote, your words create worlds. If you put the L in parentheses and world, you will see that the word word is in there, right? Pablo Picasso, I'm sure all of you know who he is. One of his best quotes, or one of my favorite quotes of his, he says, if you can imagine it, it is real. And so I feel in my own personal life, I feel really bogged down sometimes by all the destruction and pain and abuse and suffering that we see happening, right? And it's really easy to get sucked into that vortex. And so that's why art and writing and poetry is a beautiful way to physically embody and energetically create that new world that we so desperately want to see happen. And so I want to read another one of my writings that I wrote on Instagram not too long ago. And I forgot to screenshot the caption, so I'm just going to scroll down. It's not too far. Give me 1 second. Beautiful. Okay. So I wrote, the world does not need your noble suffering or tepidity. The world does not need your noble suffering or tepidity. The world needs to see your vibrancy, your unabashed fervor, your fiery and exuberant tongue as an ushering nudge into what is possible. Do not play small to coddle the dying ego. May you be a walking reminder of this whispering new world where everyone thrives in abundance, fully experiencing their own power, divinity, and magnificence. And so I believe the work that we are as alchemists, we are literally taking all of this dirt and muck and pain and suffering and generational trauma in each of our own lineages. And we're taking that energy, because energy doesn't die, it only changes form, right? And so all of that energy that we see in the destruction of the world, like I said, we can use all of that anger to just continue throwing stones at the same thing over and over and over again. Like I see women's marches. This may trigger some people, but if you know me, I have a really fiery tongue and I'm here for the triggering because it means you're expanding beyond your own realm of possibility, your own realm of consciousness. I see the women's marches oftentimes as just continuing out these wounds. All the women are angry and they're saying, F the patriarchy, yada, 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 right? But what's underneath that? A lot of them have daddy issues. A lot of them were really hurt by their parents and so are using that as an outlet to continue recreating the same cycles. Their anger is keeping them stuck. Their anger, they're not using their anger to alchemize their pain. And so I believe that is the work that we are all here to do. We are alchemists, right? We are taking this old world and we're not killing it. Nothing needs to die. Yes, obviously things need to die. I shouldn't have said that. Things do need to die and energy doesn't die, right? And so how can we use that anger, that fierce tongue, that really big open heart that just like wants to save all the children that are getting the thing? And I feel that way so much sometimes. So how can we take that energy and put it towards what we are creating? Because the more that we feed our anger and our fear and just any I don't really think emotions are low vibrational, but there is such a thing as getting stuck in a trauma loop where we just continue to repeat the same things over and over. So like I said, instead of using that energy and just continuing to talk about what's wrong with the world, how can we dream a new one? How can we use our energy to embody the world that we so desperately want to see happen? You are the new earth incarnate. I have a journal, and I encourage you to do this as well. I have a journal, and at the very beginning of it, it says, everything that I write in this journal will come true. And the placebo effect is real, right? Our beliefs create our reality. And so I full-fledged believe that every single thing that I write in that journal will come true. And so me being able to write those things out and really not just write them, but feel the experience of it in my body is what is creating the new earth. In the Bible, Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is here. It's not somewhere out there. It's not going to happen when they change, when the liberals stop being crazy, when blah, 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 blah. That's all an illusion. The only illusion is that you are creating this reality that you're experiencing with each thought, emotion, each time you decide to forgive rather than holding on to hatred. Each time that you decide, I forgave, I had so much just tension with my father. I was holding on to all the things that he did that made me suffer and yada, yada, yada. And I called him about a year ago and I said, I forgive you. And in that moment, I just felt a release of this low vibrational entity that was sucking on my shame and my fear and my hatred towards my father. And so that is the work and waking moment. What are you creating? What are you speaking over yourself? What are you writing in your journals? What are you dreaming about? You know, I always find it interesting because when I just have to say this really quick, this thought just popped in my head. I find it fascinating that school buses look like prison buses. They're just painted yellow. Like, I did not do well in school. I freaking hated it. And I remember as a child, I was like, this is dumb and I'm bored. Like, I want to go play or like make out with a boy or something like that. I was so bored. And so in school, they always tell you to stop daydreaming, right? To like pay attention. Just let us indoctrinate you. Let us tell you what to believe and what to think and what to feel. Stop daydreaming. And so what I want to leave you with is please daydream as much as you can. Everything that you can imagine is real. And your voice matters. I don't give a shit if you have 500 followers on Instagram, if you have 1,000, like, it does not matter. Your voice matters. And it matters more than you allow yourself to believe, and you stay quiet because you allow all of these external factors to make you think that it doesn't. Oh, if I just had more followers. Oh, if I just could express like her, or if I could just write poetry like that. It's all illusion to keep you stuck. Your ego is your ally, and when it's unchecked, it does not want to see you thrive. It wants to see you in the same vortex, creating the same things over and over and over again. I wrote something on Instagram yesterday, actually, and I wrote, the belonging, quote unquote, gained from following the crowd is not belonging. It's not belonging. It is performative self-abandonment. And chronic self-abandonment has deep repercussions that extend far beyond anything we may gain from belonging. If you have to sell yourself, deny what you know, stick your head in the sand, or pretend in order to be accepted, those people do not love you, and they're accepting a false persona of you that they have conjured. So letting these false personas die is the work of a lifetime and requires deep grieving, but is a necessary undertaking for those who desire to truly live from their heart. Can you hold the line of what it is that you know and who you know yourself to be? Can you hold the line, and will you? And so I have about 30 seconds left. One more thing that I had so many things that I did not get to, darn it. I want to close with this. I want you to think of who you want to be. When you think of your biggest, most full, expressive, just like delicious, yummy life, what do you see yourself doing? Who do you see yourself as? And most importantly, what are you feeling when you're in that space? Are you feeling maybe bold, audacious, confident, sexy? What are you feeling? I want you to pick 3 or 4 words and write them down for yourself. And after you write them down, I want you to feel the vibration of those words. Like when I say the word shame, it makes me want to just like die, honestly. It literally makes me want to cave into myself and just like, blah. But when I think of the word bold, I put my shoulders back. I'm like not afraid to show things that I would perceive as imperfections. Like I feel sexy and I feel good. I feel audacious. So notice the frequency of the words that you write down and then feel them in your body. Picture yourself as someone who is bold, as someone who is daring, and ask yourself in each moment, what would someone who is blank, what would someone who is bold, or how would someone who is bold show up right now? How would someone who is audacious respond to this person? How would someone who is confident walk into that freaking room? And when you have those words, you have to show up as them. And that is how you embody who you are becoming. And that is how we all embody this new earth that is on its way.
That was incredible. I wish we had more time.
Sorry, I know.
Maybe we have time real quick to actually, let's do this. Let's just tell people where they can find more of you, more of your work. Where can they sign up for your email list, everything like that? Awesome.
So I'm shadow banned, not for anything COVID related. I posted too many butts on Instagram, and I got I got removed for nudity. So my Instagram name is Emma Zeck, Alex, EMMAZECK. You can see my name, and then you have to type in the little underscore. So it's at Emma Zeck _. If you just type in Emma Zeck, you cannot find me. You have to type in exactly how it's spelled out.
Cool thing.
And my website is emmazeck.com. I have a retreat that I am leading in Austin, Texas, where I live in February, that I'm calling in 12 women for. So if you related to this and you feel, in alignment with the work that I do, then I would love to host you.
Thank you so much, Emma. I swear I'm going to get emotional. It's incredible to see, considering like knowing what we've been through. And I know other people have been through stuff too, but just like seeing you show up as you are is just incredible. And I love you so much. And I appreciate you so much. And thank you for being a part of this.
Yeah.
You stopped crying today. Jeez.
No, it means your heart is open.
Yeah. All right. I love you so much, Emma.
I love you too.
This is incredible. Thank you so much. And I hope you all had your playbook out, taking notes. Head to emmazeck.com to find more about Emma. I'll also share one of her posts here on my Instagram after this. And thank you so much again, Emma. And thank you all for tuning in, and stay tuned because we have more stuff coming.
Love you, Baba.
Love you.